This is Irontrader, and this is the weekend edition. Big war breaking out there in Iran. I kind of figured it happens over the weekend. So right now here, we're going to look at some trades that will be working here probably next week very, very easily starting Sunday night. We'll take a look here first at gold and silver, and then we're going to take a look here at the old crude oil. Okay, this video is for information purposes only, not a recommendation to buy any stock market ETF. Please like, subscribe. Thanks for watching. Alrighty, here we have gold, here we have silver. Now, anytime we get into this kind of a situation here, what rallies is going to be the commodities. Now, again, if that Straits of Hormuz is closed, that's going to be very, very tough for the crude oil business, and that's going to take crude oil much, much higher. But again, just remember, it's a lot of times when you have situations like this, they don't really last kind of a situation. It just looks like the information I was reading here that Iran is spreading themselves pretty thin, attacking a lot of different countries, and they only have so much military versus the other forces around the world to attack them. Okay, so just always remember that. But right now here you're looking at the old gold situation. Okay, so we made this nice new high at that 52.99 level. We were looking for the top of there at that 52.69, and we closed pretty much right at the top of the situation there at 51.82. Now your next big target, I guess, is going to be right there. Not I guess, that's where it's going to be at 51.26. 54.10. And then we have your 54.52, and then we have 54.80. But this is going to be the big retest where it could pop right up there just almost instantly, 56.26. And then we have to see what the reaction is. So if it does rally right up to that, okay, then we have to see, does it going to be blast through and go to that 5,700, or does it stop there and come right back and consolidate kind of a situation, okay? So basically on the downside, you're just watching that 8-day, and then we're watching that 21 SMA there, okay? But right now, we have a good uptrending chart situation, and with these circumstances, it just looks like this is going to be going higher here next week, at least probably retesting that 56.26, and then we have to see, because it could rally if it's a prolonged situation, it could rally right to that 6,000 mark very, very easily. Okay, your RSI, you got plenty of room to run. The green is over your red. So this is actually looking extremely, extremely bullish. You just look at the bottom left here, upper right. It just absolutely just a nice, good rise on up here kind of a situation. Yeah, we had a little pullback. No big deal kind of a situation. Even with the pullback, we still have a high, low, higher low, and a higher low situation, okay? Now, here, silver is the same thing. Now, I'm long the silver trade. You can see here we have the green crust over red. That's very, very bullish, and you're only sitting at 58. But when we look at this, we came all the way on down here just on a retest, and we held that 21-day very, very nicely. The 8-day crossed the 50-day, crossed that 21-day, so that's going to provide very, very good support level. So right there, what we have here is we have this 94.76 level. That's what we had for high on Friday. So again, we'll be looking right there at 95.78. 96.73, but I really think you're going to start rocking right up to that 101 level, 102, and then this is going to be very, very critical. This is that 106.61 level. Now we keep real on going here. You got 110, we have 113, we have 117, 118.45, and then 121.78. Now, if this rockets right up and spikes right on up here, we have to see what the situation is once it hits that 121 level. If it does hit that, does it blast through, or does it hit it and then go sideways or come on down, or is it just like a pop and drop situation like we have here? Okay, so but again, if you can crack this on a closing basis here, this is going to be going to 125. That is going to be your big target. Downside, very easy. Just watch your 8-day, watch your 21-day here at that 83.93, and then we have that 50 SMA here. So a lot of times these trades like this, when you have the gold, the silver, the crude oil, they'll just pop right on up here. But again, it all depends on what's the longevity of the whole situation, kind of thing. Okay, let's take a look here now at crude oil. Alrighty, here we have crude oil, and I can see here how we closed here, but we closed right there at 67.29. What you're looking for is 67.28, so you're sitting right there. Okay, so you made a high of 67.83 level. So basically, all we do is your next level is going to be right up there. Is going to be that 68.45. 69.58, and then there's a big retest at 70.51 level. Okay, so let's just look on a weekly chart here where we can actually really hit if this really pops up here. So this is that 70.51 level that I was talking about here. Okay, right there. Now again, if we get above that, there's your next level at that 72.28. We'll come up here, 73.68. We have 75.18, and then 75.87. That's your 200-day. Now, if crude oil rallies and it starts breaking all these situations, this is going to be your big target. It's going to be 78.40. We're going to come up here at 80.77 level, and then we can come up here at that 84.52, and then we can venture all the way up to that 87.63. Then we have a big retest there, all the way up there at that 95.03 level. Okay. Now again, if it does really spike high, okay, right there's that 95.03. Then all we do is just look to the left of the chart here. So what we have, bring the price challenge around 97.66 level. We come up there, we have 101.88, and we'll come up there at that 114 level, and then we can bring it all the way up here to 123.68 and then 130.50 level. Now, and when you look at this, if you do get a spike up and say, hey, this is spiking up, that also can be a really good shorting opportunity, just like it was here. We went all the way from 130 here on a weekly basis. The following week, you're down to back down to 93.53 level. Okay, so always remember that a lot of times in these situations, nothing lasts. Okay, now we got to see what the futures are on Sunday night at 8 p.m. That's going to be very key, and to see how they rally up going to the next day. Now, that could drop this market down. I've been calling for a 5-10% correction here, and it could drop it right on down. But again, what you do if this market comes down and it just crashes all down, look for buying opportunities, okay? Especially like in that tech center, okay, where it's been just getting hammered, okay? Like your NVIDIAs, your Amazons, Meta, Microsoft, Apple, Google, Palantir, all that stuff is getting really hammered. Now, my favorite trade is the TQQQs, which is a basket of everything, and that really works out nice. So what I'll be watching for is that TQQs to come in and slam all the way on down, kind of a situation. If it does slam down, that could be a buying opportunity. Matter of fact, what we should do is we'll take a look at the chart here right after that. But right now here, basically just watch that 67.28 and watch Friday's high. That's 67.83. Next big target is going to be right there at that 70.51. And then just mark it right here, 75.87 level. And I say just mark it right on up here, okay, at 78.40. 80.77, and then we come right up there to that 80.63, and you come all the way up to that 95. And it could get there very quickly. If there's anything that happens in that Strait of Hormuz, and that thing shuts down in any possible way, it's going to send crude up really extremely high. Okay, let's take a look at that TQQ once. Okay, here we have TQQ. Now, this is one of my favorite trade. Now, this actually split 60.69 here. That was over $120 there, but this actually split. Now, remember, this is a leverage ETF. So we're holding this key level right here, that 48.06, very nicely. Now, this is one of my favorite trade because it's a nice, good basket. You don't have to pick out a Meta, a Microsoft, an Apple, a Google. This is a basket of all the good stuff, and it's really heavily weighted, like with the NVIDIA, your Microsoft, and your Apple kind of a situation. Now, again, if those stocks get hammered, those are buying opportunities, okay? And this is why I like the TQQ situation here, okay? So if we lose that key at 200-day at 48.06, then we'd be looking for that 46.42 level, okay? Then we come right down here to the bottom of that chart. We're looking at 45.24 level, and then we venture down here. You at 42.13. We'll come down to the bottom there at that 40.93 level. Okay, then we just come right down to the bottom of that candle, 39.91, and we could come all the way down here at that 37.47 level. Okay, and then we could come all the way down, okay, 32.43. Now, I'm not saying that's exactly where it's going, I say, but if it does get hammered, just look at one of these levels here on the left-hand side, exactly where the good support level is. So because you can see here how nice it's holding this 200-day very nicely. Now, usually I don't really show the TQQs for a simple reason. It's a leverage fund, and it really tracks the NASDAQ and all those stocks, and even Tesla and Costco. But what it is, this is one of my favorite trades. I just wanted to show you how a lot of times you can trade a basket of all the good stuff, and you can have, even if it comes flying on down, that could be a good buying opportunity on the TQQs here. So just watch that 48.06 level and then watch that 46.42. If we lose that, I say we can go down to the bottom of the situation here, okay? Now, on the upside, you're just looking basically at that 8-day 49.72, 21-day 50.06, and then we have 52.62, your 50-day, and we have your 100-day at 53.26. Now, again, you can see here how we had this nice good sideways consolidation, but now we just couldn't hold it, but we are holding that 200-day. So again, if this does come flying down here, always watch it where you can actually possibly do a nice catch. Now, right down here, there's a good one that I've been watching here, 31.93 level. There's your gap. And then we have a fill over here at that 29.16. So that can provide very good support here if it does get hammered. So what I'll be watching Sunday night is when 8 o'clock this opens up and you can trade this 24 hours a day till Friday, you know, if there's a bottoming situation, because a lot of times the market will just drop right on down on this news, okay, Sunday night, and then that could be a good buying opportunity here to take a good kind of a scalp situation, okay? So a lot of times when you see bad news, that could be a good news for a trader, okay? So always keep that in mind. Never have an opinion. But we're going to be in some real tough times here now, and I say I've been calling for this 5 to 10% correction, and I think we could get started with something like a war could set that off in that kind of a direction. However, that doesn't mean that you can't make money. Now, if you can also short like the Dow, you can use S Dow on this here instead of using the TQQs. You could use SQQs, okay, and that also works very, very good. But what I'm looking for is an opportunity here just to take this on a scalping side. If we come down and we start holding some of these levels here, that could be a good scalp with a buying opportunity here and then take it up higher. But again, we'll have to see how long this war situation is going to drag out. If it drags out, if they could end that this weekend, I mean, who knows? I mean, we have a lot of firepower out there, so we have to see how that all shakes out. Okay, I'll see you Sunday night there. I'll have a video there for you by 7 o'clock. And we'll take a look here at the Bitcoin, the gold, silver, crude oil, natural gas, and then we'll take a look at the NQ. That'll be the NASDAQ futures. All right, trade what's in front of you, not what you want.